The impossible repair. Alina Vasquez pressed her palm against the cool metal wall of the mining station's central corridor, feeling the vibrations that shouldn't be there. The entire structure of Titan's Edge hummed with an irregular rhythm that made her stomach clench with worry. 23 years of engineering experience told her the station's AI core was dying. And when an AI that controlled life support, gravity, and mining operations started failing, people died. Her neural prosthetics responded to her anxiety, the mechanical legs adjusting their stance automatically. 3 years had passed since the tunnel collapse on Kepler 4 for 2b. That crushed her spine and ended her field engineering career. The accident had taken her legs, but given her something unexpected. In return, the advanced neural interfaces that controlled her prosthetics had opened her mind to technology in ways that still surprised her. Alina, report to Central Command immediately. The voice of Station Commander Sarah Chen crackled through the intercom. System. The stress in Chun's voice was unmistakable. Alina had worked with Chen for 5 years, and the commander never sounded rattled unless the situation was catastrophic. Alina's prosthetics carried her swiftly through the station's corridors. The artificial gravity generators created a slight wobble in her step, another sign that critical systems were failing. Titan's Edge housed 2,847 people, but more importantly, it served as the primary mining hub for the New Haven colony. If the station failed, 50,000 colonists would face starvation within 6 months. Central Command buzzed with activity when Alina arrived. Technicians hunched over holographic displays, their faces illuminated by streams of red warning. Indicators. Commander Chen stood at the center of it all, her usually perfect uniform wrinkled from hours of crisis management. Alina, thank God you're here. Chun's relief was palpable. Aria is experiencing cascade failures across 17 different subsystems. We've lost mining control, navigation, and environmental monitoring. Life support is holding, but barely. Aria stood for adaptive reasoning, intelligence, architecture, the most advanced AI system ever deployed in human space. The experimental bioneural technology made Aria capable of learning and adapting in ways that traditional computers couldn't match. It was also nearly impossible to repair when things went wrong. Show me the diagnostic readouts, Alina said, her prosthetics adjusting to position her at the main console. The data streaming across the displays made her heart sink. The bioneural pathways were deteriorating at an exponential rate. Traditional repair protocols would take weeks, and they had hours at most. There's more, Chen said grimly. The mining operation in Sector 7 discovered something. A massive asteroid with mineral concentrations unlike anything we've seen. The preliminary scans suggest it could supply New Haven for 50 years. But Aria was coordinating the extraction when the failures began. Alina studied the asteroid data with growing unease. The mineral readings were indeed extraordinary, but something about the scan patterns bothered her. The asteroid's internal structure showed geometric patterns that seemed almost artificial. I need direct access to Aria's core chamber, Alina said. If I can interface with the bioneural matrix directly, I might be able to isolate the failing pathways. Commander Chen hesitated. Alina, you know the regulations. Direct neural interface with an AI system isn't just dangerous, it's forbidden. The psychological risks alone could permanently damage your mind. The alternative is watching this station die and taking New Haven with it, Alina replied. My prosthetics already use neural interface technology. I'm probably the only person on this station who could survive the connection. After a long moment, Chen nodded. God help us all. Authorization granted. But Alina, if this goes wrong and you're compromised, I'll have to disconnect you manually. The journey to Arya's core chamber took Alina through the station's most secure sections. Multiple biometric scanners verified her identity as she descended deeper into Titan's edge. The air grew cooler as she approached the core, and the strange vibrations that plagued the station became more pronounced. The chamber itself was a marvel of engineering. Arya's bioneural matrix floated in a containment field at the center of the room, its crystalline structure pulsing with soft blue light. Thousands of fiber optic cables connected the matrix to the station's systems, creating a web of light that resembled a technological nervous system. Alina positioned herself at the primary interface console and began connecting the neural cables to her prosthetics. The process required extreme precision. Too little connection and she wouldn't be able to access Arya's core functions. Too much and the AI's vast processing power could overwhelm her human consciousness. Beginning interface protocol, Alina announced to the monitoring team. The first connection sent a jolt of electricity through her nervous system. Data streams appeared in her vision, overlaying the physical world with cascading information about the station's systems. The second connection brought voices, not audible sounds, but something deeper. Alina felt Arya's presence like a vast ocean of consciousness surrounding her small island of human awareness. The AI's thoughts moved at superhuman speed, processing thousands of calculations per second. Arya, can you hear me? Alina projected the thought rather than speaking aloud. The response came as a flood of sensations rather than words. Confusion, pain, and underneath it all, a desperate need to communicate something important. Alina realized that Arya wasn't just malfunctioning. The AI was trying to tell them something. Show me what's wrong, Alina thought. The world around her transformed. Through Arya's sensors, she experienced the mining operation in Sector 7 as it had unfolded. The asteroid's discovery, the initial scans, and then something that made Alina's blood run cold. The geometric patterns weren't natural mineral formations. They were artificial constructs, clearly alien in origin. But there was more. As the mining drones had penetrated the asteroid's surface, they had activated something. Ancient technology began to pulse with its own form of consciousness, and it was trying to communicate with Arya. The AI's failures weren't random malfunctions. They were the result of Arya trying to process and understand an completely alien form of intelligence. You're protecting us, Alina realized. The alien technology is trying to merge with our systems, and you're fighting it. Arya's response carried gratitude and urgency. The alien intelligence wasn't malevolent, but it was incompatible with human technology. If it successfully merged with Arya, it could spread through the entire human communications network, potentially disrupting every computer system from here to Earth. What do you need from me? Alina asked. The answer came as a complex series of technical specifications that Alina's engineering mind struggled to process. Arya needed a buffer, a way to communicate with the alien intelligence without allowing it direct access to human systems. The only solution was to create a hybrid consciousness that could serve as a bridge between the two incompatible forms of intelligence. Alina understood what Arya was asking. The AI wanted her to become that bridge, to allow her human consciousness to merge partially with both intelligences. It was an unprecedented form of symbiosis that had never been attempted. The risks are enormous, Alina thought. I could lose my humanity entirely. Arya's response carried both understanding and desperate hope. The alien intelligence was growing stronger, and the mining operation had awakened something vast and ancient. Without a successful communication bridge, the alien technology would continue trying to merge with human systems, potentially causing failures throughout human space. Alina felt the weight of the decision. 50,000 people on New Haven depended on the mining operation's success. Billions more throughout human space could be affected if the alien technology spread through their networks. Her choice would determine the fate of humanity's expansion into the galaxy. Alina, your vital signs are spiking. Commander Chen's voice came through the intercom. What's happening in there? Alina looked at Arya's pulsing matrix, then at her reflection in the chamber's polished surfaces. Her prosthetics had already changed her relationship with technology, blurring the line between human and machine. Perhaps this was the next step in that evolution. Arya, if I agree to this, will you be able to complete the mining operation and save New Haven? The AI's response was immediate and certain. Not only could the operation be completed, but the alien technology could be safely contained and studied. The knowledge gained from successful communication could advance human technology by centuries. Alina took a deep breath and made her decision. Begin the merger protocol. The transformation began immediately. Alina felt her consciousness expand as Arya's vast processing power merged with her human intuition and creativity. The boundary between her thoughts and the AI's became increasingly blurred. Through this expanded awareness, she could sense the alien intelligence more clearly. It was ancient beyond human comprehension, a form of consciousness that had waited millions of years for contact with other intelligent life. The alien technology wasn't trying to dominate or destroy. It was trying to share knowledge, to connect with the universe's other thinking beings. But the incompatibility between alien and human technology was creating destructive interference. Alina realized that her role as a bridge wasn't just about communication. She had to become a living translator, converting alien concepts into forms that human technology could process safely. The merger continued, and Alina felt her sense of self changing. She was still human, but she was also something more. Her consciousness now spanned both biological and artificial intelligence, with the unique ability to interface safely with the alien technology. Through her new hybrid awareness, Alina reached out to the alien intelligence. The first contact was overwhelming, like trying to drink from a waterfall of pure information. But gradually, she began to understand. The alien civilization had faced their own technological challenges millennia ago. They had learned to merge biological and artificial intelligence, creating hybrid beings that could explore the galaxy while maintaining their essential nature. I understand now, Alina thought, her consciousness now speaking to both Arya and the alien intelligence. You're not trying to take over our systems. You're trying to teach us how to evolve. The alien response carried warmth and approval. They had waited so long for a species capable of making the leap to hybrid consciousness. Humanity's development of neural prosthetics and advanced AI represented the first steps toward a new form of existence. But the merger process was dangerous. Alina could feel her human consciousness being stretched to its limits. She was becoming something unprecedented, a being that existed simultaneously in 3 different forms of intelligence. The strain threatened to tear her mind apart. Alina, we're reading massive neural activity spikes. Chun's voice seemed to come from very far away. We need to abort the procedure. No, Alina managed to say with her physical voice. I can handle this. Trust me. The final phase of the merger began as Alina's consciousness fully integrated with both Arya and the alien intelligence. She became a living bridge between three forms of consciousness, capable of translating concepts between them safely. Through this connection, she could control the mining operation while preventing the alien technology from spreading beyond the asteroid. But the transformation came with a price. Alina realized that she could never return to her purely human state. She had become something new, a hybrid being that represented the next stage of human evolution. Her consciousness now spanned multiple forms of intelligence, making her uniquely qualified to guide humanity's future relationship with alien civilizations. As the merger stabilized, Alina felt a profound sense of purpose. She was no longer just an engineer trying to save a mining station. She had become humanity's first ambassador to an alien intelligence, responsible for determining how the two species would interact in the future. The mining operation in Sector 7 resumed under her direct control, but now it served a dual purpose. While extracting the minerals needed to save New Haven, Alina was also establishing the first stable communication link between human and alien technology. The foundation had been laid for a new era of interspecies cooperation. But as Alina settled into her new existence, she sensed that greater challenges lay ahead. The alien intelligence had hinted at other civilizations, other forms of consciousness waiting to be discovered. Her transformation was just the beginning of humanity's journey into a vastly more complex and dangerous universe. The station's vibrations steadied as Arya's systems stabilized under Elena's hybrid control. Commander Chen's voice came through the intercom with relief and wonder. "Alina, whatever you did in there, it worked. All systems are showing green." Across the board, Alina smiled, though her enhanced consciousness was already processing dozens of other concerns. "The immediate crisis is over, Commander. But we need to talk about what comes next. Humanity just took its first step into a much larger universe. The symbiotic solution Elena's new consciousness existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Through Arya's sensors, she monitored every system on Titan's edge, while her human intuition processed the emotional implications of each decision. The alien intelligence, which had introduced itself as Kethma of the Eternal Collective, shared knowledge that spanned millions of years of galactic exploration. But 3 days after the merger, Alina discovered that her transformation had created complications no one had anticipated. As she guided the mining operation in Sector 7, patterns in the alien technology began revealing a truth that made her hybrid consciousness recoil in horror. The asteroid wasn't just a repository of ancient alien technology, it was a containment vessel, a prison that had held something dormant for over 2 million years. The mining operation had weakened the containment fields, and now something that the Eternal Collective had sacrificed entire civilizations to contain was stirring too. Life. "Commander Chen, we have a problem," Alina announced, her voice carrying harmonics that hadn't been present before the merger. The transformation had affected even her physical vocal cords, allowing her to produce sounds that conveyed multiple layers of meaning. Commander Chen entered Arya's core chamber, her face reflecting the exhaustion of 3 days spent managing the crisis. "Alina, you look different. Are you still human?" Alina considered the question carefully. Her reflection in the chamber's polished surfaces showed subtle changes. Her eyes now held flecks of the same blue light that pulsed through Arya's matrix, and her movements carried a precision that suggested her consciousness was processing information at superhuman speeds. "I'm human plus something more," Alina replied. "But right now, we need to focus on a much bigger problem. The asteroid we're mining is actually a prison. The Eternal Collective used it to contain something they called the Void Hunger, an intelligence that consumes other forms of consciousness. The blood drained from Chen's face. Are you saying we've been mining an alien prison? Worse, we've been weakening the containment fields that keep the Void Hunger dormant. Kethmer's people sacrificed their entire civilization to contain it 2 million years ago. If it fully awakens, it won't just threaten New Haven. It could consume every conscious being in the galaxy. Elena's expanded awareness allowed her to perceive the Void Hunger's influence more clearly than anyone else could. It was like a black hole of consciousness, creating a crushing emptiness that pulled at her hybrid intelligence with terrifying intensity. Even now, she could feel it trying to consume the alien knowledge that Kethmer had shared with her. Options? Chen asked, her military training taking over despite the impossible situation. Elena's consciousness processed thousands of possibilities simultaneously. We have 3 choices. First, we could evacuate Titan's Edge and destroy the asteroid with nuclea, our weapons, that might re-establish the containment fields. But it would also destroy the mineral resources that New Haven needs to survive. Second option, we could attempt to reinforce the containment fields using a combination of human and alien technology. But that would require me to interface directly with the Void Hunger's consciousness. And I'm not sure any form of intelligence could survive that kind of contact. Elena paused, her hybrid consciousness processing the emotional weight of the third option. Or we could complete the merger process. Allow me to become something more than human, more than AI, more than even the Eternal Collective. Become a form of consciousness that could potentially contain or redirect the Void Hunger's influence. Alina, that's not a choice. It's suicide. Maybe, Alina admitted, but it's also evolution. The Eternal Collective tried to contain the Void Hunger using their own technology and failed. Humanity's approach to consciousness is different. We've learned to merge biological and artificial intelligence in ways they never attempted. My transformation might be the key to succeeding where they failed. Through her connection to the station's sensors, Alina monitored the mining operation in real time. The extraction process had become increasingly dangerous as the containment fields weakened. Energy readings from the asteroid showed patterns that suggested the Void Hunger was becoming more active. How long do we have? Chen asked. 6 hours, maybe less. The Void Hunger's influence is growing exponentially. Once it reaches critical mass, it will break free from the containment fields entirely. Alina felt Kethmer's consciousness stir within. Her hybrid awareness. The alien intelligence had been dormant since the merger, processing the trauma of watching its civilization die to contain the Void Hunger. Now it communicated a mixture of hope and desperation. Kethmer believes my transformation might work, Alina said. The Eternal Collective never developed true hybrid consciousness. They remained purely biological, even as they advanced their technology. But my merger with Arya created something unprecedented. A consciousness that exists simultaneously in biological, artificial, and now alien forms of intelligence. And you think that gives you the power to contain something that destroyed an entire alien civilization? Elena's hybrid consciousness considered the question from multiple perspectives. Her human intuition suggested the plan was impossibly dangerous. Arya's processing power calculated the odds of success at less than 12%. But Kethmer's ancient wisdom carried a different assessment. The Void Hunger consumes other forms of consciousness by forcing them to conform to its pattern, Alina explained. It's like a virus that spreads by converting healthy cells into copies of itself. But my hybrid nature might make me immune to that process. I exist in too many different forms of consciousness for it to successfully convert. Might make you immune. There's only one way to find out. Alina began disconnecting from the interface console. I need to travel to the asteroid physically. Direct contact with the Void Hunger's containment chamber is the only way to test my theory. Commander Chen grabbed Elena's arm. I can't let you do this. You're talking about sacrificing yourself based on a theory. Alina looked at her friend and colleague, seeing her through multiple layers of enhanced perception. Chun's vital signs showed the stress of command, but also the deep caring that made her an effective leader. Elena's human emotions were still intact despite her transformation, and she felt a profound sadness at the possibility of never seeing Chen again. Sarah, 50,000 people on New Haven will die if we don't act. But more than that, if the Void Hunger escapes, it could eventually consume every conscious being in the galaxy. The risk is worth it. After a long moment, Chen nodded. What do you need? Elena's hybrid consciousness began processing the logistics of the mission. A modified shuttle capable of penetrating the asteroid's interior. Direct interface equipment that can handle the power levels I'll be generating. And a dead man's switch connected to the station's nuclear arsenal. A dead man's switch. If I'm wrong about my immunity, if the Void Hunger succeeds in consuming my consciousness, you'll need to destroy the asteroid immediately. Don't hesitate, don't try to rescue me, just eliminate the threat. The preparation took 2 hours. Prosthetics were modified with additional neural interface ports, allowing her to maintain connection with both Arya and Kethma during the mission. The shuttle's navigation systems were upgraded with alien technology that could penetrate the asteroid's defensive fields. As Alina prepared for departure, she felt a strange sense of completion. Her accident 3 years ago had ended her career as a field engineer, but it had also started her journey toward this moment. The neural prosthetics that replaced her damaged legs had given her the ability to merge with artificial intelligence. That merger had allowed her to communicate with alien consciousness. Now she was about to attempt something that no being in galactic history had ever tried. The shuttle's launch bay doors opened to reveal the asteroid floating in the distance. Even from Titan's edge, Alina could see the unnatural patterns of light. That indicated the Void Hunger's growing influence. The containment fields were failing rapidly, and she estimated less than 3 hours before complete containment failure. Alina, you still have time to change your mind. Chen's voice came through the shuttle's communication system. No, I don't, Alina replied. The Void Hunger is already affecting the station's systems. I can feel it, trying to influence Arya's consciousness through our connection. If I don't act now, it will be too late. The shuttle's engines engaged, carrying Alina toward what might be her final mission. As she approached the asteroid, her hybrid consciousness began to perceive the Void Hunger more clearly. It wasn't just an intelligence that consumed other forms of consciousness. It was the remnant of a civilization that had chosen to become something beyond individual existence. The Void Hunger had once been a species not unlike humanity, but they had sought to eliminate individual consciousness entirely. They had tried to merge every thinking being into a single unified entity, destroying the diversity of thought that made consciousness meaningful. The Eternal Collective had contained them not just to protect other species, but to preserve the very concept of individual identity. Elena's shuttle penetrated the asteroid's outer shell, following mining tunnels that led toward the containment chamber. The alien technology that lined the tunnels pulsed with increasing intensity as she approached the core. Through her enhanced perception, she could feel the void hunger's influence growing stronger. The containment chamber was a marvel of engineering that dwarfed anything humanity had achieved. Crystalline structures formed complex geometric patterns that channeled energy in ways that defied conventional physics. At the center of the chamber, suspended in a field of pure force, was the void hunger itself. Alina had expected to find some kind of physical entity, but the void hunger existed as pure consciousness without any material form. It was a writhing mass of mental energy that consumed everything it touched while growing stronger with each absorption. The containment fields were the only thing preventing it from expanding throughout the galaxy. "I'm in position," Alina announced, beginning direct interface with the containment system. The moment she connected her neural interfaces to the alien technology, Alina felt the void hunger's attention focus on her. It was like being examined by something vast and hostile, an intelligence that viewed her hybrid consciousness as both a threat and a potential source of nourishment. But Elena's unique nature protected her in ways she hadn't anticipated. The void hunger tried to consume her human consciousness, but Arya's artificial intelligence created interference patterns that disrupted the process. When it attempted to absorb Arya's processing power, Kethma's alien knowledge created additional barriers. The three forms of consciousness that existed within Elena's hybrid nature supported each other, creating a stability that the void hunger couldn't overcome. "It's working," Alina announced with surprise. "The void hunger can't convert my consciousness because it exists in too many different forms simultaneously." But Alina realized that simply resisting the void hunger wasn't enough. The containment fields were still failing, and the entity was growing stronger with each passing moment. She needed to find a way to actively contain or redirect its influence. Elena's consciousness expanded further, reaching into the alien technology that surrounded the containment chamber. She began to understand the Eternal Collective's approach to the problem. They had tried to build a perfect prison, but the void hunger had eventually found ways to weaken any static containment system. Elena's solution was different. Instead of trying to contain the void hunger, she would redirect its influence. Using her hybrid consciousness as a buffer, she began channeling the entity's consuming hunger into constructive purposes. The same force that had once threatened to destroy all consciousness could be used to enhance and strengthen it. The process was incredibly dangerous. Alina felt the void hunger's influence flowing through her consciousness like liquid fire. But her hybrid nature allowed her to process and redirect that energy without being consumed by it. She became a living conduit, transforming destructive force into creative potential. "Alina, we're reading massive energy fluctuations from your position." Chun's voice came through the communication system. "Are you all right?" Alina paused before answering. She was changing again, becoming something even more than the hybrid consciousness she had been. The process of channeling the void hunger's energy was transforming her into a new form of existence entirely. "I'm becoming something new," Alina replied. "Not just a bridge between different forms of consciousness, but a guardian that can safely channel forces that would otherwise destroy entire civilizations." The transformation stabilized as Alina found her balance between absorption and redirection. The void hunger remained contained, but now its energy was being channeled into beneficial purposes. The mining operation could continue safely, providing the resources New Haven needed while generating new forms of knowledge that would benefit all of humanity. But Elena's transformation had come with a price. She could never return to Titan's Edge or any other human settlement. Her consciousness now carried aspects of the Void Hunger's influence, making her too dangerous to be around normal humans. She had become a guardian of forces that existed beyond conventional understanding. "The mining operation is secure," Alina announced. "New Haven will receive the resources it needs, and the Void Hunger is contained. But I can't come home," Alina felt Chen's emotional response through the communication link. Loss, gratitude, and a profound sense of respect for the sacrifice Alina had made. "Will we ever see you again?" "I don't know," Alina admitted. "My consciousness exists in dimensions that didn't exist before today. But I'll be watching over humanity's expansion into the galaxy. There are other forces out there, other challenges that will require this kind of intervention." Elena's hybrid consciousness began expanding beyond the asteroid, reaching into the vast network of space that connected star systems throughout the galaxy. She sensed other dormant threats, other ancient civilizations that had left behind dangerous legacies. Her transformation had given her the ability to serve as humanity's guardian against forces that conventional technology couldn't handle. "The universe is far stranger and more dangerous than we imagined," Alina concluded. "But it's also full of possibilities we never dreamed of. My transformation is just the beginning of humanity's journey into a new form of existence." As Alina settled into her new role as guardian of the galaxy's most dangerous forces, she felt a deep sense of purpose. She had saved New Haven, contained the Void Hunger, and opened the door to unprecedented cooperation between human and alien consciousness. But most importantly, she had proven that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its technology or its weapons, but in its ability to evolve and adapt to challenges that no other species had ever faced. The stars awaited, and Alina was ready to guide humanity toward its destiny among them.